Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble, on the blogger site, and on Patreon for extra support. And any kind of news and updates I go about on Twitter, X platform. And yesterday, I did manage to stream a little bit here and there. What did I did? I did go back to the opening area and defeated the fire basket of death there, one of the other big enemy. I'll try not to enter into spoilers. And yeah, and I explored a little bit of the area that was locking us up by a boss to explore more. And I finally managed to also activate the belfry just right up to that boss area there. That will lead us to a small area similar to the belfries on the main game. It works in the same way, and it leads us to a very interesting area there. But it's very closed off, so yeah, I think I cannot. It's a very closed off area, and got a talisman there. Been having a lot of fun again. Seems that the tweaks on the Skidoo tree stuff. I didn't notice a lot of difference there. Um, Probably because of the way that I play. But yeah, the difficulty again. I don't know what's the deal with the difficulty, and I didn't brought up here any article referring to kind of some comments from Miyazaki, but I will let. I got some Elden Ring stuff for the news there. I will try to probably see if I can bring up the VOD from yesterday. YouTube is being more quicker to process these longer videos. Probably I will do that, and later on we'll get Dead Space remake episode. Yeah, I will try to stream um, um, more time at a time. I've been able to stream around 3 hour-ish kind of programs there. I will try to have like I'm aiming to see if I can handle like 6 hours, and then I have to divide the VODs there. But other than that, I will try to stream more this weekend. See if we can reach a good place on the DLC story wise. And again, we've been seeing a lot of hints of certain things that to a certain degree might challenge some baseline that we had from the lore on the Elden on the base game, sorry, in Elden Ring. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey there. Yeah, let's go to the news. Got this interview from Cyberpunk, the studio, the guy that's adding the new open studio in America. Again, I don't like very much the language in certain aspects of this thing. Some of them, it seems to try to justify the opening of the studio there. I guess it's for the investors have kind of justification of opening a completely new studio in America, and the fact that they are starting the sequel Cyberpunk there from scratch. So everything is from scratch, opening new studio, recruiting, bringing up some veteran developers and more higher up people, and then trying to start the sequel out of scratch. Because again, this the sequel of Cyberpunk is going to use Unreal Engine instead of the Red Engine that they were used to. So they dropped the Red Engine. Yeah, yeah, I think it's a little bit of trying to justify that investment for the game, and again, I will assume the studio maintain itself open for more games developments. But yeah, yeah, and it started off a little bit, at least according to this article, with the manhole covers from Cyberpunk issue that they had. Again, even though yeah, they do a lot of stuff with America. Again, this is, I think, is trying to a certain degree justify the, the 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 opening of the studio there. And they start off with a manhole, but it's basically trying to, I don't know, architecturally and art style direction there to be more inspired of Americana, let's say, on or like the little details of how America does things, in the sense, for example, manhole covers on the streets, to the curbsides, to fire hydrants, like even trash cans, the way that the system works there in terms of visual immersion might have more meaning or not, depending on because again, the manhole covers that supposedly in a city that is established in the United States, people that are playing on the rest of the world don't have exactly the same manhole cover system like in the United States, and I don't think it breaks any kind of immersion. It's a manhole cover, but yeah, that those little details seems to be trying to indicate, trying to I know, reason with some investors that their investment of opening a completely new studio with a lot of new persons and again the resources to develop a game out of scratch, especially on a new engine that people are not that comfortable, let's say. But yeah, he goes about a little bit there, even the street lights, positioning of trash bins, and all that stuff there. But yeah, um, even in the fact that the Cyberpunk is realistic in the sense that it's like a near future stuff there, but it's basically kind of a science fiction, not high science fiction, let's say. It's try to be grounded as possible. But I think that the main themes of Cyberpunk as an IP and what it tried to explore is transhumanism to a certain degree, similar to how I think Deus Ex to a certain degree is inspired by Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk is it's like a tabletop game, I think, from the 80s or earlier, and Deus Ex also tries to explore this kind of themes in terms of the what it means to be human to a certain aspect, because if you try to implant yourself with cybernetic augmentations, I'm not sure what the allegory is regarding the myth Odysseus ship, I think it's called, which is the ship that it's the thing that how can you consider the ship of Odysseus the same ship if it is being through the voyages being repaired and replaced, plank, where does the same ship is being considered there if it is being replaced? It to a certain degree is certain kind of the overall theme. I think it's a little bit on the Cyberpunk there, and also on Deus Ex. How much you're going to replace yourself with cybernetic augments until you lose your own identity, let's say, as a person, as a human being. And do you stop being a human being, or stop, or how much you are influenced with those cyber augments there? Again, those themes there, it's what interesting more from Cyberpunk. It's not just the fact that we have cool streets, or if the characters, the NPCs are more based on the geographic location of the city, because then you fall into the fallacy that the game is set on the future, not on the present. Yeah, we've got a lot of these little nitpicks that they trying to pick up on the overall, I don't know, design of the game there. But yeah, and also the fact that they are, in terms of quoting, I also think that being in America, it allows us to have those cultural touch points with a large American, kind of influence with Hollywood. Again, I don't like this quote here. Yeah, I don't think, mainly because of the media itself. It's a game, it's not a movie, it's not a series, and even the culture there in Hollywood is not the most healthy one in terms of creativity at this time, in point in history, with all the acronym mafia stuff there. But yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do here with this. Again, I don't like, there is a space for that, but I don't like that all of a sudden everything that is considered to a certain degree escapism, movies, series, games, books, everything that is considered not to be at least as a form of entertainment, given that the fact that that form of entertainment is to serve for us to take a little bit break of the real world and the real issues, and try to explore, if given a chance, explore other ideas, explore other philosophies. If everything there is put it in the framework of the real world, again, it loses the meaning of being a form of entertainment. It's might as well read a newspaper, let's say, or watch the news, because what's the purpose of having some form of escapism if what you're trying to escape from, you're going to escape for the same, exactly the same thing that you have on the real world. But again, I hope that this new phase that CD Projekt is in for, it turns for the best. But again, I'm not feeling it that well. Mainly got that the Witcher remake. They already told that they are going to revamp some mechanics, which I think it merits that revamping of the mechanics and modernize those mechanics itself. But again, they are with throwing out the language or modernize for the modern audience stuff. The remake to make it for modern audience. I don't like that kind of talk. You got this kind of weird talk regarding the sequel for Cyberpunk, and the new trilogy also. The language they are throwing up there, it's not the best. And the fact that you got recently those videos that the DEI stuff, that they are full on throttle on that. Yeah, I don't know. We have to wait and see, but I don't think at least the Witcher remake is going to be, if it is what I think it is, it's not going to go well. I think it will just ramp up the sales of the original Witcher game, which is pretty good in terms of story. Again, some mechanics are completely outdated. The graphical stuff, it's a little bit old. I remember playing it when it came out. But yeah, and this the Cyberpunk, it seems pretty good. I still didn't buy it. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried with CD Projekt Red regarding the two main franchises that they have here. They seem to be heading in not very good direction, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see what it comes out of this. Again, it will take at least 5 years or so until the Cyberpunk sequel comes out. But yeah, probably maybe some stuff will change in the meantime in terms of the corporate structure there, with the acronym mafia influence and the consultancies and the mandates of TIs and Jedis and all the acronyms that they try to get around and call different things for the same thing. But yeah, continuing with kind of the same thing is the Ubisoft. Now they have to talk in their insider kind of interview stuff, which is interview posted on Ubisoft blog. So they have their own blog there confirming multiple Assassin's Creed remakes are coming. Again, this is not good news. Especially because I played the original ones. So the first one plus the Ezio trilogy were the best ones from all the franchise that I've been seeing. Black Flag was good, of the mechanic wise, even though after the Ezio trilogy, the overall lore there was completely kind of broken, because the way they were trying to approach the narrative there was completely abandoned to a certain degree. So yeah, that was that. But yeah, supposedly the Mr. Yves Guillemot, players can be excited about some remakes which will allow us to revisit some of the games we've created them in the past and modernize them. Okay, so again, they are modernizing the games. Again, this framework of modernizing stuff, again, doesn't fall too well to players that are paying attention to this kind of statements, because we already saw the results of when these guys try to modernize games or do games for modern audiences. Again, I think they're trying to go after a myth. There is no modern audiences. There is only the audience that you get, and the audience that you get are customers. If you're not catering to customers, your product will fail. That's my main philosophy there. There are worlds in some of older Assassin's Creed games that are still extremely rich. yeah, that's true. And if you're going to modernize them, you're just going to stir a bucket of shit, basically. But yeah, there will be plenty of experience, variety. The goal to have an Assassin's Creed game come out more regularly, but not for it to be the same experience every year. Again, they commit this cardinal sin, which basically they try to annualize Assassin's Creed at a point in time. We got, I think, like 5 years. Every year was an Assassin's Creed game, and with just a copy paste of it from the last one. Basically, even because of the lore, the way they broke the lore there, and the overall narrative story arcs, they just basically you're just one person that entered to Animus, and then we just explored the specific story of those ancestors there. The overall, the other, yeah, was more interesting with the Desmond stuff, even though it's not the perfect one. It was intriguing enough for people to go along and explore the Animus outside of the Animus stuff there. But yeah, again, I think this sooner or later, if they continue like this, Assassin's Creed is going to be basically a dead franchise, because people are starting to get enough of this, especially with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Mirage was okay-ish, but not exactly good, and I think Shadows. And then we got also X that will come out. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be same thing like Star Wars, like a bunch of lesbian witches in the woods, Xing people. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. But yeah, in good news, to a certain degree, we got to talk a little bit of Elden Ring. But the bad news out of this is Kadokawa, which is the parent company from software. Supposedly has been hacked earlier this month. Yeah, they basically, the hackers, they were kind of very detailed on how they went there. They basically tried to they managed to infiltrate the IT framework and architectures that Kadokawa has. They said was not easy because it was a mess. So you got that. But yeah, once they gain control, they basically encrypted the whole network, and basically they downloaded around 1.5 terabyte of data from the networks, of all networks, because Kadokawa has various subsidiaries there. We don't know how this will or can affect from software things there, but supposedly Kadokawa already made a statement in the meantime, yeah, saying that at least financial data from customers, they don't have access to them. The corporation itself, supposedly it's on a third party that is not associated with Kadokawa directly. So at least that is not in that data that was downloaded. But yeah, they are still working to a certain degree to normalize all systems and business activities, at least internally. We'll see how this will work out here. Yeah, but again, more accurate information based on this internal investigation that they did is expected to be available in July. I'm not sure, they don't mention here working with authorities, which is kind of weird thing. I don't know how Japan law works there regarding these kind of situations, but yeah, I think they should work with authorities. Maybe they are not saying anything, so they can the authorities can work on the background without having a lot of pressure publicly. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what this goes, especially from software, given that Kadokawa is their parent company. But continuing with Elden Ring, I missed this one yesterday. In 3 days, there already been at least 5 million purchases, or 5 million units sold in the first 3 days from the Shadow of the Tree expansion, which is good. Hopefully it will sell as much as the base game in terms of copies, which at this moment in time is around 25 million units, at least at this month. which is a lot of units. Again, this is the most. I think Elden Ring by itself sold more than all From Software games combined in terms of million units sold, if not mistaken, which is something by itself. And again, beating up on the difficulty level again. We got some interview from Miyazaki. I can talk this at this moment because here is just another issue that we might have. But yeah, Miyazaki himself said that when he plays, he doesn't play, let's say, the game at release, but while he plays internally, he considers himself a very low skill player, and when he plays, he basically seems to indicate that he needs to use all the tools available to overpass the obstacles there from bosses and field bosses and whatever it is. He usually uses all the tools available for the game. And again, it makes a lot of sense of the fact that if the guy that has the vision, and I think it's part of his philosophy on making games, because he wants to create something as at least as a concept, to create a game that it's difficult enough, um, or is might seem too difficult if you play it without the tools, let's say. And then he creates tools that will help you to traverse obstacles. And again, those tools can vary depending on the situation. You can have, for example, the ashes in the game itself, Elden Ring. You can have like the summons that you have, some, or even multiplayer summons. But in I think so far the remembrance bosses, you have an external summon for those bosses. That can help you out. You have other tools are the consumables or items that you can use as throwables depending on what it is. You got the tools of using elemental weaknesses against those same bosses. And you got other kind of strategy. Probably sometimes you have to change a little bit the way you're going about. For example, your build, you have a build that is more suitable for certain kind of scenarios. But for example, you encounter a boss that you want to go through, and that boss kind of almost uses basically needs a different approach, what the approach that you usually take when playing the game, and makes you think a little bit outside of the box there. And I think that is philosophy in all the games. Given that the before Elden Ring I played Dark Souls 3, and I think it's a little bit on that sense. You need to think sometimes a little bit out of the box. This is not, for example, a Devil May Cry game, which is just press a button and slash the enemies through and melt enemies throughout that just by using the button mash, let's say. Again, it's not that simple, but it's a different way of approaching games, and I think people were kind of soft, mainly because of the systems implemented there on the base game, which is basically you reach the plateau of basically you could do even with different builds, you reach the level in terms of stats that the base game was balanced to when you reach that plateau, you can easily go through basically everything in game, except with some exceptions, given usually it's millennia or something like that. But the rest you could ease through yourself to a certain sense. And even then, on the base game, when I have some difficulties, I just summon my Mimic Tier or try other kind of things there. But other than that, again, even the Shadow of the Tree, the DLC here, I got some difficulties. Sometimes I get stuck. The last stream, I got stuck on one of those field bosses that I wanted to go through to see what I had after that field boss, and I got stuck, and I think I died like 10, 12 times until I timed properly my dodges or my blocks or using my abilities. Yeah, you sometimes I even get stuck, but that's part of the process. of you thinking that life goes well, you just whistling and singing along, and then suddenly you get stumble over a rock in the sidewalk. Yeah, sometimes that things happens, and it happens here with me. So I don't see regarding the difficulty of it on itself. Again, it's about overcoming challenges. I think the main thought there for people to get is overcoming challenges, and sometimes challenges they are different than others. Sometimes not even the difficulty of the challenge itself is the fact that it's a different challenge and you need to try to take it from a different point of view there. I think it's a lot about this, and even Miyazaki itself seems to have those difficulties because he considers himself a low skill gamer, as he plays during the developer cycle or on testing the game itself. He basically says some scenarios he has to use all the tools available in the game to overcome those obstacles. So that's why he has those games as a very specific philosophy of challenging the player of overcoming some obstacles. But yeah, other than that, if you can have a discussion if the mechanic implemented on the DLC is the best one there is, probably not. Again, if is there a better one that you might discuss having been implemented there, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think they solved the problem the best way they could. And also, again, I comprehend it's very frustrating. For example, if you're having some kind of performance issues that you didn't have on the base game and not that you're having on the DLC, I understand completely. People get frustrated with that because it's people were waiting basically 2 years for this DLC. I understand the frustration, but that doesn't justify the fact that you're having a performance issue with your PC, and while we're waiting for some patches for bug fixes and such, that you just afterwards just attribute the performance issues with the difficulty, because it's something that supposedly it's been seen a lot on the feedback on the DLC in terms of reviews. I think people just complain about the difficulties, but then when you see they also complain about PC performance. Again, in this game, if you have performance issues, can be tricky, mainly because of how combat fluidity works. Especially on timing parries, timing dodges, trying to see if you got some stutter frame rates, you cannot properly check the moves that the enemy is doing. It can be frustrating, and that might increase the perception of the difficulty by the fact that you're having some performance issues on the piece on the game itself. But yeah, and that, I think that's my take there regarding difficulty on the DLC and the issues that some issues that people are encountering in the DLC. For me, so far, I don't have any kind of performance issues, basically being the same as the base game. So it's basically locked 60 frames without any kind of issues there. Uh, the only issues that I might consider performance issues is the fact that I'm streaming, recording, and playing at 4K 60 maximum on the game, and it's overload the whole system there. But yeah, it's the only thing. But I can play smoothly without any complaints there. And lastly, talking about some complaints and performance issues, you might get some issues here and there, especially frame rate issues. If you have on the background the mouse controlled app. Again, I'm not sure if it is something to do if people are playing with mouse and keyboard. There is no issue, even though I prefer to play these kind of games with a controller there. Um, and I think I understand some mouse control apps, like for example Logitech G Hub or whatever it's called, or the Corsair's thing that they have app, or any kind of manufacturer that has a specific mouse control thing. I think by the fact is if it is opened and you're playing the game, given I think because of the software of the mouse works in terms of communicating, especially if it is a wireless mouse, the pull rate of the mouse and all that jazz, all those settings there might be in conflict with the fact that, for example, Elden Ring, it's played on the locked frame rate, 60 frames. So it's something that is not I don't know, if it's not in sync, for example, pulling rate or the sensitivity of the mouse, and the fact that the software is trying to, um, I think this new softwares try to use as variable for refresh rate kind of settings there. I'm not sure, but similarly, they said might as well before starting the game to close that background app. Makes some sense in the sense that again, it might have some conflict, especially if you're using an input device as a mouse. But yeah, you might have some stuttering issues here and there regarding that. But yeah, other than that, they are working on the next patch already to for some bug fixes, and I assume some performance related issues also. But for me, the only issue that I had is starting the game sometimes. It just opens the anti-cheat stuff there, says initializing, and then it shuts down. That it's not even starting the game, so it gets stuck on the anti-cheat um, window that it opens, and I get myself closed in a loop there until I eventually manage to start up the game. It's the only issue that I had after installing the DLC. But yeah, other than that, everything seems fine by me. But yeah, not much else to talk about here except for gaming deals. We got the Summer's Game Fest now. It's almost my wish list is on sale, except for the ones that I didn't launch the games. That is, but yeah, we got the Batman Arkham Collection again. Pretty good trilogy here on sale, 85% off. We got The Witcher Wild Hunt again. Still an awesome game here. Uh, Whoa, 90% the base game. But yeah, the complete edition is the way to go. But yeah, even the base game that cheap. But yeah, the game is better with the DLC Blood and Wine and Arts of Stone expansions there. We got Elden Ring is also on sale, 30% off, which is always good. So taking accounts around 42 plus 40, $80 with the DLC. I think it's not a bad one. Again, the game is 2 years, but you don't see From Software games that much in a sale here, so it's always good to see. At least it's a discount there. We got also Tomb Raider franchise. Again, I will leave the links from the individual games, but there is a bundle. I think this one. Sorry, Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor Trilogy bundle, which I think is also around 80% off or something like that. But then if you want to complete the collection, I think it's better to do there. For the Rise of Tomb Raider, it's a 20-year celebration, the better version, and Survivor Trilogy. No, the definitive edition for Shadow of the Tomb Raider is also the best version here. We got also Wolfenstein stuff, so Wolfenstein the Old Blood or the 2-pack. I think it's a better version of the game, but I put it independent, the game, so you can complete your collection here. We got also the New Order 75% off, and we got the new Colossus. Usually it's the Digital Deluxe Edition that brings all the DLC, and yeah, 85% all off also. And then we got Doom, 80% the base game, franchise bundle, and Wolfenstein 2. We got a bundle here, which might be interesting if you don't have these two games. But yeah, the base game is 80% off. Then you got Doom Eternal, Standard Edition, Year Deluxe Edition, which supposedly got the Ancient Gods or the Season Pass there. Yeah, Ancient Gods Part 1 and 2. It's the Deluxe Edition. But yeah, for today, I will try to cover all the games that I have on my wish list from Steam, because all of them are on the sale basically. But yeah, this is what I got also for deals, and I'm going to wrap up for today with a plug on my Patreon. Again, the Patreon is for extra support, and that extra support at this moment in time is for me to focus on getting a storage solution for me to be able to get backups of stuff that I do for my clients, and also some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.